Welcome to your life. There's no turning back, even while you sleep. We will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. If you want a song on your YouTube video, you have to sing it yourself or they'll flag you. I don't know, maybe there's some point at which you can pay money and that won't happen. Welcome to this Capricorn Dark Moon film. I'm excited about this little journey that we are going to go on today. It's cold in here. I've had the heat running in preparation for this film, but it's loud, so I had to turn it off. So I'm suffering for my Pisces tribe. Greetings, Pisces tribe. We are entering into our zone. Our zone with the Virgo Pisces nodes that are coming up very, very quickly in this Capricorn Dark Moon, and the surrounding symphonic planetary play is ushering us into this transition among and beside many other transitions, which we are going to talk about today. And that song came to me because, you know, I'm in my life, you're in yours, and I'm looking at myself, my own reactivity, the way I do relationship. I'm looking at others around me, the way they do relationship with each other, the way we're all playing off of each other. And I'm looking at everybody's charts. I'm not looking at everybody's charts. I'm looking at everybody's charts. We're going to talk about this magic today. Oh, so many. Makes me very happy. I've just printed 22 new ones for you that we're going to play with during this film as well. So that just makes me happy. And I'm looking at the play of karma. And, you know, there's this thing about welcome to your life. There's no turning back. And this is my own medicine. I take this medicine daily that I'm about to also prescribe to you. So, like, this is not me pointing fingers. That is the gift of the projection. When you catch yourself projecting your shit onto somebody else, that is gold. That's gold. That's not the moment at which you beat yourself up for being lame and psychologically underdeveloped and so behind and never going to catch up. And no, that is the moment when you go, oh my God, thank you for this information. Now I have something to work with. And you take that projection, because that person wouldn't be bothering you in that way if that wasn't something that you already hated within yourself. If it wasn't something you already hated within yourself, it would just be neutral. You wouldn't even notice it. I mean, there's so much bad behavior around us all the time, right? That just doesn't really get on our nerves. It doesn't really bother us. Like, yeah, we recognize that it shouldn't be happening, but it doesn't get under your skin. It's because it's not something you need to work on. If it's getting under your skin, if it's pissing you off, which it especially is going to be with this Mars retrograde, 3 times opposing Pluto, which is what we're going to talk about today. If it's getting under your skin, then, and you recognize it, and you recognize you are projecting your own shit onto somebody else, then you can just say thank you to the higher powers and get to work. Get to work. That's X marks the spot. That is where you do the work. Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. You don't get to leave and to leave it behind. You'll find the same play in somebody else, somewhere else. And guess where the best place to do this work is? as Mars scissors across my IC. Your family. That is the best place to do the projection work. Once you're in partnership with somebody, that counts. That's family. Family is blood. Family is also on purpose committed partnership, because what happens when you have on purpose committed partnership is babies, and that equals blood. You're sharing fluids, like family, committed partnership, and blood. This is where the projections just fly like wild. And this is where we can change the world. This is where the work we do inside of ourselves ripples out into the collective and absolutely changes the world. When we spend our time projecting at people online and fighting with people online and getting really worked up about the political circus that's happening all around us, we're contributing to that circus. If you're not in politics, if you're not actually able to do some political action, then just go ahead and do the internal action, because that's how you will change the world. Okay, so the astrology. This is so fun. This is just so beautiful. So there are many things happening at all moments in astrology. And I find that for me to be able to tune into it and really feel it in my body, not just intellectualize it, but really feel it in my body and feel how it's playing out in my life and how it's playing out in the lives around me, and tune into the song of the spheres and how the dance is playing, and to really grow in fullness as a human because of my connection with the movement of the planets, to utilize my connection with the movement of the planets as a way of grounding myself here, of quieting my mind, as a tool for meditation, as a tool for evolution, personal growth, and peace, really peace and harmony inside myself at a tumultuous time, which is one of the great gifts of astrology. The way that I do that is to stay with a handful of planets and aspects in any given moment of time, not to try and see it all, because here's the humility piece, y'all. The humility piece is, even the very most intelligent astrologer on the planet, and there are some smart people in this field who can hold a lot of it at one time in their head and see the whole pattern at one time in their head. Even that person is only apprehending the tiniest fraction of what it is. Like the tiniest. Just think about all of the models that you've seen of how tiny the Earth is in the context of the universe, in the context of galaxy upon galaxy upon galaxy. Now, all of these planets have a different astrology. So even if someone could grasp the entirety of the pattern that is playing out here, that would be minuscule in comparison to the whole universe. So just know that this is a fractal that we are inside of. That all of these patterns that are playing out are building upon each other, pattern upon pattern of the same sound, the same song, the same pattern, variations in frequency, but always connected, always symphonic, ever undulating synchronicities, just sacred geometry playing out in all directions at all times so perfectly and so gorgeously, such that if you tune into just one tiny piece of it, that's all you need, is to tune into one tiny piece of it and go deep. You don't have to go wide. You don't have to see it all. You don't have to pay attention to it all. You don't have to know everything that's happening at every given time, because you can't. Our brains can't. So just tune into a little bit and see and sit with it and breathe with it and watch it come to life and then express itself inside of you. And that experience brings so much peace through what you're actually doing, which is connecting yourself back into the matrix of the planet, out of this false matrix that our society has built around us, that has separated us from the planet and separated us from each other. When you breathe into the astrology in this way, with one simple thing that you look at and sit with and breathe with, then you're reconnecting yourself with the rhythms of the planet and with the rhythms of each other. Because even though they cut off our awareness of how interconnected we are, they don't cut off the interconnectivity. That is impossible. So you are reawakening your awareness. You are remembering what you already know. So what we're going to look at today are the next two lunations, the last lunation of 2024, which is a dark moon in Capricorn, the first lunation of 2025, which is a full moon in Cancer, and some of the play in between that. And the play that we're going to look at is with two planets, Mars and Pluto, and the nodes. Okay, so Mars and Pluto are the only two planets we're talking about. They're in opposition with each other. The nodes are not planets, they are places, and they move through the zodiac. What are the nodes? Simply put, the nodes are where we look in the sky to understand the relationship between the sun, the moon, and the earth at any given moment in time. This is the place where eclipses happen. What are eclipses? Eclipses are when the sun, the moon, and the earth line up exactly with each other. And because of their size and distance, they shadow and block each other out in alternating fashion. It's a dance. And we watch it, and then things happen. And the places where that occurs, those eclipses occur, those places are called the nodes. So we can go into more depth, astronomical depth, later about what that is astronomically speaking. But I like that definition of it because it gives you a good overview without getting too caught up in your brain. Just knowing that these places, the nodes, when you hear people talk about the north and the south node, these places are where we experience the relationship between the sun, the moon, and the earth. So we're looking at these two lunations, which are the sun and the moon, and we're the ones looking, so the earth, and we're looking at the nodes. And then we're looking at Mars and Pluto because they're playing into this pattern. So what we have between this dark moon and the next full moon is called a mystic rectangle. A mystic rectangle is two oppositions. That's two planets opposite each other. And the alignment, the space in which they are opposite each other creates two sextiles and two trines. So we're going to look down at the chart right now and look and see the opposition between Mars and Pluto. And beside that, the opposition between the north node and the south node. And then we will see how the north node and Pluto are sextile each other. That's 30 degrees. That's half of a trine. how Mars and the South Node are sextile each other, and how the North Node and Mars are trine each other. That's 120 degrees. I'm sorry, did I say 30 degrees? A sextile is 60 degrees. That's half of a trine. Mars and the North Node are trine each other. That's 120 degrees. Pluto and the South Node are trine each other. That's 120 degrees. Now we experience oppositions as challenging aspects. They create loud and strong, powerful, passionate dynamics, a tug of war, a pull between two forces. Sextiles and trines are harmonious, they are more easeful, they allow things to flow. It's very nice to have a harmonious blend of the challenging aspects with the harmonious aspects, because this is how we create. This is what gives us both the tools and the fuel, but also the clarity and the skill and the flow, the literal life force energy flow. Rather than, when you get frustrated, it's really hard to accomplish things. You trip, you run into things, you cause accidents, you just get so overcome with emotion that you end up flatlining and having to sit down and watch TV. Or go take a walk, a healthier option. Do some Qigong. But when the energy feels harmonious, relaxed, then you can actually do the work and accomplish a lot. So this is such a lovely configuration because it gives you the intensity and the power of those oppositions with harmonious flow of life force energy so that you can work with it. It's not just heads butting, which a lot of times, especially when you have planets like Mars and Pluto. I mean, this is a long 6-month transit because of Mars being retrograde. And this is a really potent interlude in that transit where we can really work with it. We can really do something with it. Now, you want to track the story in your life when you ask yourself the question, what should I do with this? Because you don't want to start something new. That's not going to go well. So look at the end of October, beginning of November, that time period, maybe even a week on either end. For me, it was a month leading up to it. Mars cut across my IC. And the day that Mars hit my IC, which just happens to be opposite Pluto, was when I moved out of my apartment in Asheville. So you cannot make this shit up. The IC is the lowest part of the chart, and it indicates, among other things, where you live, your home, your dwelling place. And Mars just said, you're out. So I'm not going to want to look at this configuration and say, how should I work with this for this great new idea I have that's totally not to do with my living situation or my business or my community, which were the main things affected during this time for me. And try to do something, with, I can't think of an example right now, but you get it. Try to do something that's totally unrelated, like try to take a trip. That's a good example. It's not a time to take a trip. It's a good example because that is something I was trying to do. And I realized looking at the chart, like, oh no, I need to stick to the storyline, and know that this period in time, this dark moon on the 30th to the 13th of January, which is the full moon in Cancer, is a really good time to work with this storyline and what's playing out for me and where do I want it to go? Where would I like to, this is not energy that you can like create the thing that you necessarily exactly want to have. But this is energy that you can influence in the direction of how you want that outcome to go. And And remember that the people around you are going to be experiencing it too. This is really intense energy, really intense energy. So choose your battles. If the people around you are experiencing this in a way that you don't want to be a part of, don't get in the middle. Don't let your ego have to have an opinion, play a part, spend your energy. That's an energy leak. Don't get in that. Stay with your storyline. Okay, so this mystic rectangle is present in the next thing I want to talk about, which is the 1st of January, the next day. That moon, that crescent, fresh new crescent moon that just came to the same place as the sun and became invisible, had its monthly rendezvous with the sun. Her monthly rendezvous with him is going to conjunct Pluto. I mention this because we're talking about Mars and Pluto. We're talking about high emotions. This is going to feel like a continuation of that dark moon. A lot of times, as soon as a moon passes, a dark moon or a full moon passes, you're like, whew, that energy kind of releases. I would not be surprised if the energy held for a little bit longer with that moon conjuncting Pluto. And know that if it's conjuncting Pluto, it's opposing Mars. And because we have the mystic rectangle at play, it's also lighting up the nodes. The nodes are currently in Aries and Libra. And by the time we're done with this video, they're going to be in Pisces and Virgo. Not by the time we're done with this video, but the timeline that I'm laying out in this video, which is only a couple of weeks, is going to lead us into those nodes shifting into Pisces and Virgo. So this is a major tone shift. And given the importance and everything that's going down astrologically in the next couple of years, the Pisces Virgo nodes are a huge part of the tone, because this is where eclipses are happening. That's where change happens. These nodes are a huge part of the tone shift, and it's happening now, and it's happening with these two moons. So, okay, so that is that January 1st, the mystic rectangle is getting even closer because now Mars has entered into 1 degree. Okay, so next we're going to look at the 3rd of January, 2 days later, wherein Mars opposes Pluto. Mars retrograde this time. Opposes Pluto. That's really, really childish, Eve. I'm just like, poot. Mars opposes Pluto. On the 3rd of January. 1 degree and 8 minutes. Leo is Mars. 1 degree and 8 minutes of Aquarius is Pluto. And the mystic rectangle is created by the 2 0 degrees. So the nodes have gone into 0 degrees. They're still in Aries Libra, but they are only there for another little bitty breath. And so again, the intensity of this dark moon could continue to play out because it's very much connected to the Mars-Pluto opposition. As that Mars-Pluto opposition is so close at the moment of the moon, and then in just a couple of days, the moon lights it up, and then a couple days more, the opposition perfects. That mystic rectangle, is still holding strong. So next we have the 11th of January. And on the 11th of January, the nodes move into Virgo and Pisces. These are the true nodes that I'm looking at. Most astrologers are looking at the true nodes. You can also look at the mean nodes. You got a couple of weeks before the mean nodes go into Virgo and Pisces. And this does not mean like mean, cruel, unkind. This means mean, like average. I like to look at where they actually are. So here, when the nodes move into Virgo and Pisces, it's interesting because now the nodes are in, they're out of that yang axis of Aries and Libra, and into the yin axis of Virgo and Pisces. And at this point, Mars is back in Cancer, also yin, also water, while Pluto is holding the yang polarity, being at 1 degree of Aquarius, a yang sign. Pluto, never again in our lifetimes, thank God, will return to Capricorn. All the Capricorn places rejoice. Thank you for the transformation, and thank you that it's over. So yeah, this mystic rectangle is changing its tone. It's still at play, but we have some different energies entering into it. And then next we have the 13th of January, which is the next lunation, the full moon, the first lunation of 2025, and it's a full moon in Cancer. So I'm going to bring in actually one more planet into the discussion of this one, and that is Neptune. And I will say Neptune's been there all along. I could have mentioned it on the chart before where the nodes move into Pisces. That really would have been the best time to first bring it up, because Neptune is at 27 degrees of Pisces. Now the North Node is at 29 degrees of Pisces. So that conjunction is really beginning in earnest, the conjunction of the North Node and Neptune. The North Node is the head of the dragon. This is the ravenous hunger inside each of us. This is our destiny, our dharma. This is what we will make happen. Come hell or high water, come this lifetime or the next. This is the point of the arrow, the direction in which we are headed. This is all of our greed. This is all of our power. This is where we speak. This is where we breathe fire. And the expression of this place right now is Piscean. So Pisces is the place beyond the veil. Pisces is the spirit realm. Expect that part of our existence to get loud, to get vocal, to get passionate, to be noticed. And it's very much at play in this mystic rectangle. And at this point, the lunation, it's not perfect. It's not exactly on top of, but given the intensity of the play between Mars and Pluto and any given full moon, I mean, this could only be more intense if it was an actual eclipse, because for all intents and purposes, that Mars-Pluto opposition is on top of this full moon. So we have the moon and Mars together with the sun and Pluto together, opposite each other. So that mystic rectangle that had the dark moon over off to the side on the 30th of December now has the sun and the moon on top of it. So now we're only looking at one formation on this chart, because again, I'm just zooming in. There's lots of other stuff going on with all of the other planets. I'm just zooming into this one really dominant feature. And because it's so dominant, we're all feeling it in one way or another. And I am highly aware of it because of how extreme and dramatic it has played out in my life. So I'm really paying attention to this, and I'm paying attention to this time period, and I am paying attention to what I want to give my energy to and what I don't want to give my energy to, because everyone is feeling this, and what everyone is experiencing is valid and is important and needs to be honored and recognized. But that doesn't mean that I need to feed into it. That doesn't mean that I need to engage it or give my energy to it, because my energy is precious, and I want to move my life forward in the most constructive way possible. Like, okay, so here's another thing about difficult aspects. When you look at a difficult aspect playing out in your chart, or in this case, really playing out in the collective, and you say, oh my God, how long is it going to last? Like, and I'm just going to hold onto my seat and grit my teeth and get through it. Well, even if you make it out alive, if you just get through it, you miss your opportunity. When it's gone, it's gone. Don't miss your opportunity to dig deep with the gifts, the tools, the energy that is being handed to you right now on a silver platter. Don't hit snooze. Don't go back to bed. Don't just watch TV for the next 2 weeks because this is hard. Get in there and be with it. You don't have to drum anything up. You don't have to create anything. Just engage your life. Engage your life in the direction that you want it to go in. And surrender. It's both and. Think again about the surfer. The surfer doesn't just toss his body out on the ocean, not without any skill or know-how or a surfboard. He's just gonna drown. He gets strong, he exercises, he works out, he practices, he gets a board, he makes sure his board is tip-top shape. He makes sure that there's not a storm out on the water on the day he decides to go out. And when he goes out, he's paying attention, he's sober. He had a good night's sleep, he had a good meal. And when the wave comes, he is, or she, they are paying attention, livid, riveted attention to life is just vividly alive, moment to moment. They're completely in the now. They're completely engaged. All their muscles are engaged and at the same time relaxed. And with the knowing that ultimately that wave is going to do whatever it wants with the surfer. To surf a wave is to surrender and to engage. It's both. This is the game we are playing here. It's what it is. Welcome to your life. All right. Thank you so much. If you've listened until now, I am so grateful for all of you. There's more to come. I'm with you on this ride. You are with me. We are in this together. We are of one heart. We are of one mind. We are unified. We are together in love. Blessings to all of you.